Here we go. Imagine that there was a way to make a pretty good amount of money by doing nothing more than sitting and waiting around. Well, it exists, and it's called the stock market. So today I'm going to tell you guys how to invest in the stock market. I wanted to share this with you guys because we're all young adults, we're going to start working soon, and we're going to have income, and one of the smartest things you can do right off the bat when you're young and you're working is to begin investing. Think of the possibilities. If you start investing now, you could potentially have the down payment for your house ready to go, a kid's college fund, or even retire early. I've personally been investing in the stock market since I was 14, and so far it's been a pretty lucrative and positive experience, and I wanted to share this with you guys. So I'm going to show you how to invest in the stock market with 3 guiding questions. First of all, what is the stock market? A brief overview. And then how do we actually access it? How do we interact with it? And then finally, how do we make smart investment decisions? So briefly, what is the stock market? In an article from themint.org published by Northwestern Mutual titled, "What is the stock market?" they offered a really good definition. They thought of it as an online place where you can go and buy little pieces of companies that are called shares, which makes you a shareholder in that company. And so I also like to think of the stock market with an analogy. Think of it as a big room filled with pies. Each company is a pie. You can go in and buy slices of however many pies you want, and that's the idea. And so the goal of buying a stock is that you buy it from a company when the company is lesser known, less profitable, and then over time, as the company expands and becomes more profitable, so does your piece of the pie. And when you sell it later, you get all the money in between the price of where you sell it for and where you bought it for. And so now that we know what the stock market is, how do we actually access it and interact with it? The first thing you have to do is set up an account with a thing that is called a brokerage. Think of a brokerage as the middleman between you and the stock market, or the key to the room that's holding all the pies. If you don't have the key, you can't access the stock market and make trades. And trades are the buying and selling of stocks. Here are a few examples of brokerages. I'm personally a member of E-Trade, and in John Small's article titled "How to Invest When You Don't Know Where to Start," he also recommends E-Trade as a good starting brokerage. So now we're signed up with a brokerage. We can access the stock market. Let's actually go through that idea of making a trade. First, you have to decide what company you want to buy. Let's say you want to buy a stock from Apple. You would search up Apple, and then you would check the price of the stock for the day, where it's at. If that looks good to you, if you think it looks low, then you would come over here, you would click buy. You can choose however many you want to buy, however many your money allowance allows for, and then that's all you have to do. Then you just wait, you come back later, and you sell them, hopefully for a profit, and that's how making a trade on the stock market works. But now this is one of the most important parts of investing in the stock market. How do we choose smart investments? And this all comes down to an idea of risk and reward. Let's think about it. Let's say you put a lot of money into buying stocks for new companies, new startups. That's really risky because they could potentially go bankrupt and you will lose all the money that you put into that company. But the same is true for the inverse. Let's say you put all of your money into this new startup called, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. You have the potential to make a lot of money. There's a lot of risk, but there's also a lot of reward. So what I recommend people do when they're starting out is to invest in companies that are not going anywhere. They're not going to go bankrupt. America can't live without them. But they still have room for growth. Apple's going to continue to grow. Amazon's going to continue to grow. So those are smart investment choices for people that are just starting out. And this idea is also echoed in Tom Drake's article, "How to Buy Stocks, A Guide for Beginners," published on Canadian Finance Blog. So that's about it for today. I just want to conclude by pointing out that the most important part of investing in the stock market is time. Buy your stocks, forget that you even bought them, and then check in a year, 5 years, 20 years, maybe even 50 years. And if you've made smart choices with companies that are still around, that are still growing, you're going to have a really nice nest egg to fall back on. And I hope one day we're all rolling in dough like these two cuties. Thank you.